皆さんこんにちは。みるです。Okay, let's get right into it. One of Japan's most iconic industries, a real cornerstone of its modern identity is, well, it's on the brink. We're talking about shipbuilding. Once the absolute envy of the world, it's now facing a crisis so deep, it could actually threaten the nation's entire economy. So today, we're going to break down the massive and, I mean, monumental plan to pull it back from the edge. So let's start with the hard numbers, because they really tell the story. And honestly, it's pretty shocking. Just look at this. In only 5 years, Japan's shipbuilding output got sliced almost in half. We're talking from 16 million gross tons down to just 9. But you gotta understand, these aren't just figures on a chart. This represents a genuine threat to Japan's ability to stand on its own 2 feet, economically speaking. The very shipyards that used to launch entire fleets are now struggling just to keep their own heads above water. And this is why that drop-off is so scary. 99.6%. Think about that. Almost every single thing that comes into or goes out of Japan does so by sea. For an island nation, ships aren't just a part of the economy, they're literally the lifeblood. It's like the entire country's circulatory system. So yeah, the stakes here, they couldn't possibly be higher. So that really brings us to the heart of the problem. This is way more than just losing jobs or a famous industry. We're talking about a national lifeline that is seriously at risk of being cut. Because if things keep going the way they are, just imagine this. Japan could soon lose the ability to build its own essential ships, its own tankers, its own cargo ships. That creates a massive and, frankly, dangerous dependency on other countries. The ability to control your own supply chain is everything, and Japan is right on the verge of losing it. So the big question is, how did we get here? How did one of the world's shipbuilding giants end up in such a tough spot? Why is an industry with such a legendary history now literally fighting for its life? Okay, take a look at this, because it lays out the challenge perfectly. The shipbuilding world today, it's a battle of giants. You've got China and South Korea, who have built these absolutely colossal shipyard complexes, often with huge government backing. They can just churn out ships on a scale and at a price that Japan's smaller yards, well, they just can't compete. Look at that number. Together, they control over 90% of the entire global market. It's a tough race to be in. And it's not just the external competition. The industry is also getting hit by some serious problems at home. It's not just that the facilities are smaller, they're also dealing with the rising cost of steel and other materials, which is a huge deal. But maybe the biggest problem of all is people. They're facing a demographic crisis, a massive shortage of skilled workers, the welders, the engineers, the designers you need to build the ships of tomorrow. But Japan is not going down without a fight. Not at all. Faced with this massive threat, the government has come up with a plan, and it is breathtakingly ambitious. Let's dig into how they plan to turn this whole thing around. 1 trillion yen. Let that sink in for a second. We're talking about a huge public-private investment, a coordinated effort on a scale that could totally reshape an entire industry. The goal here is nothing less than a complete overhaul, a resurrection over the next decade. So how exactly are they going to spend all that money? Well, the plan rolls out in 3 clear phases. First up, from 2026 to 2028, it's all about making the existing yards way more efficient with automation. Then, the next phase is about thinking bigger, starting to build brand new expanded facilities. And finally, the last phase is when the big guns come out, activating massive new docks and cranes to seriously ramp up capacity. But this isn't just about throwing money at the problem and hoping for the best. The whole strategy is actually built on 5 key pillars. It's a really comprehensive approach. Beefing up the facilities, training a whole new generation of workers, making sure there are orders to fill, building global partnerships, and, this is the really crucial part, betting everything on a huge technological game changer. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Japan knows it can't just try to build more ships than its rivals. That's a losing game. So the strategy isn't to catch up, it's to leap ahead. The goal is to build smarter, more advanced ships that nobody else can. And this quote from the government's own plan really says it all. They don't see the global shift to new technology as a threat. They see it as a massive opportunity, a golden chance to completely reset the rules of the game and create a new market where Japan's incredible high-tech skills can really shine. So, pillar number 1 of this tech-first strategy, it's all about becoming the world leader in green shipping. You see, as global environmental rules get stricter, the demand for ships that run on clean fuels like ammonia and hydrogen is about to explode. The plan is for Japan to be the country building those ships. Next up, strategic focus number 2. Remember that critical labor shortage we talked about? Well, this is the answer. By pouring money into advanced robotics, AI-guided welding, and automated assembly lines, Japan plans to boost productivity and precision, basically doing way more with fewer people. And the third major focus is to digitize the whole shebang from start to finish. Think about it like this. They want to create a perfect virtual copy of a ship, a digital twin, before a single piece of steel is cut. This lets them test and perfect every single detail in a virtual world. It's all about making the entire process smarter, from the first sketch to the final launch. All right, so we've got yen trillion on the table and a high-tech strategy to leapfrog the competition. So what's the end game here? What does success actually look like when we get to the target date of 2035? Well, the goals are incredibly ambitious, but they're also crystal clear. First, double the amount of ships they build every year. Second, build enough ships to meet 100% of the demand from Japanese ship owners. Third, become the undisputed world leader in next-gen ship technology. And finally, to achieve that simple but really powerful vision, Japanese ships built in Japan. So the course is charted, the investment is huge. Japan is really putting it all on the line here, betting its future as a maritime power on innovation and pure national will. But in a global market this fierce, you have to wonder, will this trillion yen gamble actually be enough to navigate these incredibly turbulent waters? It's a huge question.
このチャンネルが興味深いと思った方は、チャンネル登録といいねボタンをよろしく。